Hey guys, it's Kyle here with All About the Hype podcast, and I'm really excited because this is somebody that I've literally been following for months and months and months, and she's very inspiring. So I'm really excited to have the Miss DeWalt, Jennifer Cline, on our show today. She's savage at crafting with a ratchet. That's one of my, your bio on TikTok is like my favorite. That's one thing I love about you. So I'm really excited. Welcome to All About the Hype, and we're really happy to have you on the show.
And I'm happy to be here, and it's finally nice to talk to you in person, Kyle. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I think recently you just kind of found the conclusion that I'm actually Jade's stepdad.
Mind blown. I had no idea. It all makes sense now, but I'm like, I had no idea.
Yeah, that's so funny. That was so funny when you made that comment, but yeah, it's really exciting. And so basically for the viewers that are listening, what I'm doing is talking with professionals out there about how they're using their profession on TikTok to inspire others and what they're doing and how their thing is. So I'm really excited to talk to Jennifer, especially about how she's doing her DIY and her art and crafts and everything like that. So I would love to know your story first on how you kind of what inspired you to get on TikTok?
Well, what inspired me to get on TikTok, honestly, was Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm already on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I was on all of the major ones. And it was about this time last year that he just was preaching to everybody that would listen, which like millions of people, that he was insistent on the power of TikTok and that it was the new up and coming thing. And if you look at his interviews, it's like Nostradamus, like if you play back things, everything that he predicted happened. So I thought, you know what, if Gary Vaynerchuk is saying that I should pay attention to TikTok, then I'm going to follow. I trust his vision. And so that is really, because I wasn't looking for, social media, as you know, is work. It's work to be on every platform.
Oh yeah.
Or all the major ones anyway. So I was like, do I really want to add another platform? But I thought, you know what, he's insistent. I'm going to listen. If it doesn't pan out, I can always drop off. Mm-hmm. That was the beginning. He is the reason why I started a TikTok account and why I'm here a year later. It's my favorite platform and my largest following.
Exactly. Yeah, you have a following. You're currently at 183.1 thousand followers. That's pretty amazing. Yeah. That's incredible. You. I remember watching you. Oh gosh, I don't even remember. I want to say you were probably under like 20K at the time when I first saw you. And which is really cool too, because the following that you grew on TikTok has really helped you create almost like content on LinkedIn too. Mm-hmm. So it's like really built that bridge for your professional life and everything. So
I can see where it's advantageous to be on several different places, because you're right. And for me, I only have so many hours in the day. Mm-hmm. So if I have to put my time and effort where it makes the most sense. So for me, that is TikTok. So a lot of what you're seeing on LinkedIn is because I simply don't have time to create, or maybe I'll use like a still shot, but really videos I've noticed do well on LinkedIn. I think people stop to watch. So a lot of times I will share my TikToks on LinkedIn, and it really has blossomed into some amazing opportunities for me there. I think people are seeing what I'm doing. And I think maybe in the beginning they were like, maybe a little more negative. I had comments like, TikTok doesn't belong. This is a professional site. Yep. And I didn't listen because I'm a stubborn Italian. I don't listen. And I'm glad I didn't, because I think now after a year, people are starting to understand that TikTok is here to stay and the power of it, and that, hey, she's already at the cool party. Maybe we can get her to invite us into the cool party too.
I love that. Yeah. And you know what? I say the exact same thing. So before, I remember even when Jade was on there, they're like, why are you on here? Like, you know what I mean?
Remember?
Exactly. Yeah. So I remember all those negative things. And you know, what's cool is I do see a shift. Like, people are starting to take notice now. And this is exactly why I want to do this series, because there's a lot of professionals on TikTok now, like showcasing their, like how they're educating others, and it's really taken off. So I think people are now taking notice, like, okay, I'm interested, I'm listening, what's going on.
Yeah.
So I love that you bring it to LinkedIn because and you have a lot of engagement on there too, which is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So
LinkedIn, I think, is the missing part of the equation that I think a lot of my Instagram, because I've told a few of my friends
mhm.
that LinkedIn is like like I said, the missing puzzle piece or what have you, because the decision makers are over on that platform where a lot of your customers and my peers are over on Instagram. But and now of course I have peers and friends over on LinkedIn too, but the people that are actually making the decision, I would never have a chance to meet a lot of those people in real life. But now I can just connect with them and they can get to know me. And I think that it's a lot of ways undervalued.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
In fact, I do that in my business. So I deal with talent and everything on my side, and I'm really helping educate them. A lot of them are younger, like Jade. That's why I told her, hey,
Mhm.
Jade, it's really important to get on LinkedIn. And at first she was like, what is
Yeah.
LinkedIn? And when she got on there, she was like, no, I don't want to be here. This is like, this is not in my comfort zone.
Right.
But it's so true what you said. The decision makers are there. So that is a great, like, I love that TikTok and LinkedIn do have, like, there is some symmetry there, because you're growing on there, but you want to bring it to the right audience. So it's definitely the platform that both people, like, those are the hottest ones. Those are the two I use the most:
Me
LinkedIn
too.
and TikTok, literally.
Me too.
Yeah.
And it's funny because every now and then I'll share a statistic, like how many views something got.
Yeah.
And I think that they're like, wow. And then I get a lot of, hey, let me send you this product. Hey, do you like beef jerky? And I'm like, you know what? That has nothing to do with woodworking, but you know what? I would love to try your beef jerky, and I'll include it in if it doesn't go with my niche, I'll include it in like my Instagram stories.
Yeah.
But I am getting a lot of people saying, hey, let me send you, my safety wear. Let me send you my paintbrush. Let me send you this. Let me send you that. And then I do have companies, like I said, that are reaching out and saying, we would like you to create videos with our products. So that's really cool. I'm happy that that's finally taking place.
Yeah, see, that's the start, and it's going to grow from there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's so cool. So basically, TikTok has opened up new opportunities for you in
Yep.
in your professional world.
Yep. Yeah. And people are watching that I didn't even think. I connect with everyone on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
And like, for instance, there is a gentleman, his name's Rick McDonald, and he could have been anywhere in the world. It just so happens he's like a half an hour from here in Aurora, and he makes the most wonderful shipping containers and packages. And I just so happen, like, I make my flags.
Yep.
But he reached out to me and he's like, hey, I would like to, possibly work with you. So it's Link Packaging, and I'm going to be working with them and showcasing to makers and to people that have huge industry, like they work with Step 2, they make all of that. So I'm going to be promoting them here shortly, and it's great, and it fits with my flags. I can ship my flags in them.
Yep.
So there's a symmetry there. So yeah,
Exactly.
like those are people I didn't even know. Like, I just accepted his request a while ago, or maybe I requested him, but you just don't know when you're putting content out who's watching and
Hmm.
who might have a need for your services that they will message you. So yeah, it's great.
Exactly. And I try to tell a lot of people that because, like, they get caught up on TikTok. They feel like it's just for teens and kids
Nope,
dancing, but it's so not.
wrong. The people
Exactly.
that are saying that aren't on there and they don't know.
Exactly. Or they've opened the app one time and got
Right.
scared from the For You page because it didn't know them.
And that's what I explained to my friend. He's
Hmm.
like, I'm just seeing like a bunch of teenagers dancing, which not that there's anything wrong with that. I love that.
Yeah.
But I said, you need to go on there and you need to tell them, because the algorithm is very smart. And I try to
Very.
explain, you need to like a few and comment and follow people, and then it will know
100%.
what it will find you then. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like dating. I always say the algorithm is like dating. Like you go on a date, you don't know each other yet. It might be a little awkward, right? That's how people feel
Right.
like this is awkward. But as it get to know each other, you start like feeling that chemistry, and it's so true. You just search like for you instance, like DIY or
Right.
creativity, and then all of a sudden now your For You page is geared toward you and what you like, and people
Right.
will be surprised. It's so true. They will see, wow, there's actually a lot of my demographic on there, and
Yeah.
educating, and
Yeah.
it's fun.
Right. And in the beginning, I was telling a lot of my Instagram friends, my woodworker friends, I'm on TikTok, I'm getting all these views. And one of them actually told me, nah, I'll go down with the ship. I heard Instagram's dying, but I'll go down with the ship and blah, blah, blah. And wouldn't you know, months later, he's on there now.
Yep.
But so I was like, you know what? You should have listened to my advice. But yeah, it's funny. It's funny. They'll come around.
Oh,
They'll
100%.
come around. Yeah.
100%, especially if a new acquisition comes through on somebody that a big person purchases it. I think there's going to be a lot of people now being like, all right, let's go.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, but it's so cool that you were early and saw the vision. Like, I love that about people who kind of take the opportunity and be like, you know what, this is out of my comfort zone. This feels a little bit awkward, but I'm going to try it, because it's so true. Like Gary Vee, he's predicted so many things. Yeah, he was.
He was spot on. And I'll tell you, a year ago, the atmosphere was a little different. And I did get a lot of being called boomer and being called Karen and being called, and just, but it's totally, that only lasted a short amount of time. And I'm glad that I had a tougher skin, that I was like, you're not chasing me off of here. I belong here. And now it's so much more of a different community. And now one of my favorite TikTokers is in her 80s.
That's amazing.
So it really truly is for everyone. They've done a very good job, I think, of keeping the bullying to a minimum. I mean, you're always going to have that. But I really think that they've made it a very fun, a very welcoming place. And that's why I'm just upset. It's my favorite app. Before I got on the call with you, I was watching TikTok. I saved 2 videos that I want to duet or do my own version. And I hear a song. I filmed a video earlier today to the interior of crocodile alligator. I can't get that out of my head. And I'm actually dreaming up crafts or projects to go with the songs now. Before it was, I would come up with a craft, and then what song would fit this? Now it's completely opposite. So yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot of fun.
Exactly. And you know what? It keeps you fun, young, and relevant too. Like, the app really helps that, because some people might hear the radio or some songs that are on the top Spotify playlist that are our age, and they're like, I have no idea, these songs are crazy. And we could go to a Gen Z party right now, me and you, and fit in and know all the music. So that's what's kind of fun. One. Yeah.
And I'm even older than you. So.
Yeah, right? Exactly. No, that's so cool, because and what I love personally too about TikTok is it really brought our family together. My daughter just turned 19, Jade, and she had a birthday party just here with her friends, but she actually invited us to hang out. She's like, you guys are invited too, me and her mom. And we're just like, oh, okay, cool. And we knew the music, and we were able to communicate. So it was super cool. That's one thing I love about it. What's your favorite thing about TikTok though? What's something that you really just makes it different and what you love the most?
What makes it different? I really like, and I touched on it before, the community. I think that is what sets it apart and makes it different, because you don't see themes going on like that on Facebook or Instagram. So I think it is the collaborative community effort to where you'll see somebody, you'll either duet them, you'll use their audio, I think that really, or that would be it, is the community that is my favorite thing. I saved 2 audios that I'm going to do my own version of, probably one of them tonight. And that is what makes it different and fun. You cannot, the other apps I think are trailing behind in the fun, what I call the fun factor.
Yeah, I agree. And it's so important about community as well as for brands and businesses. I think a lot of brands and businesses lack a community effort. So which brings trust. So when you have a really strong community, that brings trust and value to your business, where people will advocate for you left, right, and center, because they know you authentically. And I think if a lot of brands and businesses are listening, TikTok is a great way to start that and build your community and get that actual feedback that maybe you had no idea about, like some differences or change. Like, because people on TikTok are amazing. They'll give that great feedback, like, hey, you should try this, or
Yeah.
I love this kind of video, do more of this. And I think on other platforms, not a lot of people engage in that way. So you don't really know. You're thinking you're putting out all this great content because people are just like saying, cool video. Might be a bunch of bots, but on TikTok it's like authentic, real,
Right.
real actual positive feedback where you're like, wow, and you start your channel just grows into this awesome thing. And I always tell, like, traditional celebrities, like being a movie star, a lot of people resonate with them as like their favorite character maybe in their show, but in real life you don't know much about them.
Yeah.
Whereas, like people like you, they get to know you and they're going to be a fan for
Right.
life because you've interacted with them, you've engaged, and they'll trust your brand and everything like
You're
that.
right. You're right. And that's an important message. I'm so glad you said that. And you know, my favorite brand is DeWalt. And now I'm not sponsored yet.
Yeah, good. Yeah,
But it is
manifestation.
my dream to one day be. But yeah, people are, I think, if I'm using something and I genuinely like it, I think they're more apt to go for that brand rather than seeing an ad put out by the company, because of course they think their brand is great because they're the company. So, and I get messages all the time from people asking what kind of, leaf blower, do I own it? They just assume that I have every tool known to man, which I don't. But they send me DMs all the time saying, hey, can you recommend, how do you like your table saw? Thank you for that video, putting that stand together. The directions were kind of lacking. I mean, I get things like that all the time. So yeah, I think a lot of young people are growing up. They're seeing my things. They see what brand I'm using or other people. Jade's a great one too. Has Vans reached out to her yet?
Not yet. We're in the same boat. One day
They
soon.
better.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they better. I mean, I think that if somebody is so passionate about your brand, your product, they would be smart to get on board, because we are reaching an audience, especially me. 80% of my followers on TikTok are female.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'm getting people, one of my best friends who's in her 50s wants to buy a table saw. What
Right?
brand do you think is going to buy?
Exactly.
I have a friend who's recently widowed in her 60s. She wants a drill and a chainsaw.
That's so
What
cool.
brand do you think she's going to buy? Nobody's talking to women in the tool industry, but I am.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, brands would be smart to find us.
I love that. And I love that you're empowering like women to do that, because you know what? I grew up in a household where my mom is just like you. Like, she's an interior designer.
Oh,
and
awesome.
I remember her
gave me chills.
Yeah, I remember being like a kid and I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm fixing the toilet. And like, she'd be using the tools, and my dad would just be like, my dad's opposite. He's like, nah, I'm not getting my hands dirty. And my mom would be the one like doing all these like buildings and crafts. And
that is so awesome. Because I didn't grow up with that.
Yeah.
I did not grow up with that. And I was not handy. I think you know my story. I'm handy out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anybody that is, and it's a long story, but I'll be brief. My husband was the handy one. He was a maintenance man, and he was 12 years ago on his way to work and was hit by another driver that came through intersection. So unfortunately, after that tragedy, I was kind of forced to become handy. I had to figure it out. I had to step into his shoes. And that's why DeWalt, his tools were DeWalt. I picked up those tools. They're the ones I learned on. But it was, I often say that I'm handy out of necessity. So that's how I got my start. But I really hope to be for the next generation of boys and girls. I hope to break stereotypes. I hope that the young girls watching say, she's doing that. I want them to know that that is a possibility for them. I didn't grow up with that.
Exactly. I love that.
Role model.
I love that. I love that. It keeps you connected with your husband too. Like, I love that, like I'm sure you can feel him every time you're just in the workshop.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And actually, it was kind of funny. Yesterday I was trying to put together a video, because, I think in the beginning, a lot of it was comforting to be in his space, to be with his stuff. But yesterday I was doing a video, and it was and I don't know if you saw it. It was a gentleman. His name's John. I don't recall his last name. He's a Navy SEAL, and he was asking for influencers to do videos talking about veteran suicide and ways you could cope with mental illness, with grief. And I thought, I'm the perfect person to speak on that. So I was trying to film a video. I was out in the workshop. I was getting tongue-tied. I was having a really tough time trying to condense my story. And I said Gary's name, and the lights flickered at that moment. And you can actually see it on the video.
Oh, wow.
That's where I said, you know, my husband, Gary, and like the lights flickered, and I went, I stopped and I went, was that you, honey? And I said, help me say what I need to say. And then like the next take, I was able to get out what I wanted to say. But
oh, wow.
I really feel like I think he knows exactly what's going on in my life. I feel like he has an influence. There are times that I don't know how I pull off the things that I do. I feel like he's guiding me. So I'm glad that you said that, because I do find comfort in working with his stuff and working in his space. And I feel like I'm honoring his memory by doing that.
I love that so much. I really believe in all that kind of stuff too, and that people are with us when we need them. And I just love that you can still like, you're forever going to like have him, you know, there. So it's amazing that you get to connect on that level. That's so cool. And like, I love that, because it just, you know, like sometimes we take, and it's a good reminder too, that sometimes in the bad, there could be good. You know, and it's awesome that you can take this memory of him and live it, and then be able to inspire like literally thousands, you know,
that is my hope.
Yeah. Which is so cool. And I really feel like it, like I see, that's what I love about Gen Z as well. Like a lot of people say, well, TikTok is full of Gen Z, which is great. Like, I think that's awesome. We should all be talking with them and inspiring them. Like people are like, so like, that's not my demographic, but like, you shouldn't think like that. You should think, wow, that's the next demographic. Like, how do we communicate with them? How do we talk with them? And I see them really creative. A lot of them are now like being open to trying more things, like, hey, I'd like to build stuff. I see so many people doing these like renovation projects now in their house. Like, hey, it's quarantine, like during, you know, especially during COVID, they're like, hey, I have an old shed out back. I'm going to turn that into a chill zone. And they're like doing projects. And I love that. Like,
I'm very excited for the next generation. Jade is a great example, first of all. And, you know, it's funny that people think that, but then when they think of like their own kids, they think, well, my kid's a great kid. Well, everybody else, like there's so many other great kids out there. And she's a perfect example. When I just am blown away by her maturity and her business sense at such a young age. And I'm thinking, if I would have started back then and knew what Jade knows, like how far would I be now?
I know,
you know?
Right?
So yeah, like I'm very hopeful for that generation. I think there's some awesome young people.
100%. And the thing is, like, and sometimes they present themselves differently, because I mean, think of when we were kids, like my parents used to say, oh my gosh, like your music's crap. What are you wearing? But like, we turned out okay. So like, sometimes they present themselves like, what is their video content? But you have a conversation with them and you're like, wow, okay, you guys are pretty smart. Like there's a lot, there's a lot more to you. I don't think we give them enough credit. Exactly. And they really opened my eyes, especially like Jade coming into this. Like at first I was like, what have you been doing with your life? She had no idea. Like she was one that just struggled with school and struggled with anything. And she's like, I have no idea. And then this kind of just happened. And like, this is her, like the same with you, want to inspire people. And I think I love that there's opportunities like that now. And I love that you're able to get into that opportunity regardless of age. Like you don't have to be Gen Z. You can do it at even 80, like the lady that you follow.
Yes.
You know, there's never a time. Like I hate when people put like, I've reached this age, I'm done. And it's like, no way. No way.
Nope. Don't ever think that mindset. I think what's cool about the younger generation is they're more accepting of doing their own thing. Like when I was growing up, you got a college education and you worked for somebody else. And that was the only way it was. And so now I think that they're like, you know what, if I want to design purses, or I want to make jewelry, or I want to make cakes, or I want to be a content creator. That is like, you could do your own thing and be your own boss.
Yeah.
Where that was not commonplace. Like you were crazy if you had that thinking, back in the 80s. You don't
Exactly.
do
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Right.
You had to go to college first to get a business degree and then maybe go do that.
Exactly. And also, like, what I love is, like, if somebody says, well, like, they'll ask about, like, maybe an older demographic asks the Gen Z kid, like, well, what are your plans after that? Like, because that's just a little hobby or something. But they look at it like, no, I'm going to do that. Like, you can't tell me what I can and cannot do. I'm doing it. That's what I believe in. I love that they have that power and strength to speak up for themselves and say, no, I'm going to make my decisions. Because it's so true. Like, growing up, it's like you had this pressure on you of like, great, what college am I going to? What am I majoring in?
Right.
You're just like, and at 18, my whole career has just changed even in the last year. Completely different.
Same here.
Yeah. So it's just
Same here.
At 18, I had no idea. And if I chose what I was going to do at that age, I joined the military because I had no idea what I was going to do. But if I had to choose the profession at 18, I would not be doing it today. There's no way.
I remember having a conversation with my mom at 18 and crying and saying, I have no idea what I want to do with my life. I don't know what I want to do. And I ended up going to art school, which now I can see how that comes back into play. And one good thing, my mom always said, no amount of education is ever a waste. Mm-hmm. So even though I went to art school, I went for fashion marketing, I got a job working with 9 West, which is shoes. I loved it, but it wasn't conducive to a family life, to, retail hours. I would probably have been a buyer and had to travel all the time. And it just was, I had my daughter. So, and then I went into, I'm a paralegal. So I went into law later. So there've been all kind of twists and turns, but like everything you learn, I think at this stage, all of that is going to come into play
100%
for what I'm doing now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like what I'm doing now is not even relevant to what I was. Like I was a respiratory therapist and it's not even close to like what I'm doing, but the things I've learned from people. So like one of my favorite things that inspires me every day was a patient I had. And I remember walking into her room and the first thing she said to me, not like, hello, I've never seen her before. She was like, how old am I? And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't look at your chart. She's like, no, don't look at my chart. How old am I? And I was like, probably like 63. And she was like, I'm 93, sweetheart. And I was like, no way. Yeah, she looked amazing. So I just asked her, like, and that's one thing I loved about being a respiratory therapist. I used to ask my patients, like, give me some advice. And she said to me every day, like, opportunities come around sometimes once, and sometimes they're scary. But if you feel it passionately, you take it, because that's what ages you, is like that stress, like not taking the risks that you took, And she's like, and every day I know. And she said to me, every day you stand up and get out of bed and you take the day. And if an opportunity comes and you feel it, you go for it, like no matter what. Yep. And so on her 92nd birthday, she was only in the hospital just for a common flu and they wanted to do some tests. She was fine. But on her 92nd birthday, she actually went skydiving, which she was
good for her.
She's like, I love her. She's the most inspiration. And she's actually helped like change my life. So when I was happy, I loved doing what I did, but I realized there was more purpose, for like life.
Yeah.
And so I decided, you know what? I'm taking her advice. Like, and there's never a too late. If I was 60 and that's how I felt, I think people should do it. Like,
I do too. And you can always go back to that.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. It's there.
Yeah,
I have my license. If I wanted to go do it, I could, but why not?
Right. I think that's probably what keeps me going too, is my passion. I feel this is my purpose. I know it in my soul that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So yeah, that's another reason why I love TikTok so much, is because it's part of my path and part of my purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it could fit in with a lot of other professionals too. And they just haven't seen it yet. They just need to get on there and check it out. And there's so much education that could be out there. I know, me personally, like the education side of TikTok is, I learned so many things from there that I've never learned in my life. Like from
Yeah.
little life hacks to like to
I learned how to
yeah.
cut a mango.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon showed us all how to cut a mango yesterday. And I was like, I've been doing it wrong my entire life.
Right. Exactly. Like to like there's a couple science channels I follow that they put out like some science education that I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. Like I never knew that, and I learn it. It's just I love it, and I can see why people get like that. They just love being there. It feels so positive. Like when I'm on there, it's just so uplifting, and I just get inspired. It's a very inspiring place.
Me too. And so anybody that is on Facebook, because I've had to be like, whoa, I post and ghost. I can't take the negativity that Facebook, they should be ashamed of that, to be honest. They should be really ashamed that they've allowed it to get to that point. So they need to figure out something rather than trying to take down TikTok and trying to whatever. They need to figure it out. But that's why I love TikTok, is just like, it's, how many times do you watch something and you laugh?
Oh my gosh.
Or you watch a video, you're like, oh, that was so heartwarming.
100%.
Or, you know, like you feel good. It's like, I don't know if it's an endorphin. What is it that I'm looking for? It's like something. It's it's like, dang, like I really feel good. I want more of that.
100%.
And then you get on Facebook, you're like, I don't want that.
No, exactly. I'm the exact same with you. I love that saying, post and ghost, because that's exactly what I do. I get on there and it's so fast how fast I close it. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like it's sad. And I remember my life used to be like, you're kind of like sad, and you're almost like, you almost get wrapped up into that too. You're like looking for people that are like having a bad life. You almost like go searching for those people to make you feel better in a way, you know? And I'm so great. Like that was one of the best things I did. It was actually like, I only go on there very few times, sometimes just to check on family, and then I'm out, because me too. I could open my TikTok right now and just like find a hilarious video that will pop up, because I follow a lot of animals. Like I love animal videos. My For You page is like filled with animal videos.
Mine too. Yeah. Did you see the squirrel one where they had it like had it on a feeder? It was like a baffle that was, and I commented, I'm like, here I am building chipmunk and squirrel tables so they can eat leisurely, and here you are like setting up a booby trap. And it just was cute. But there are like really educational ones that have to do with animals, which is cute. Like somebody raised a little baby kitten, and like I wanted to cry at the end. It was so moving.
Exactly. It just shows like so many cool things that people were never really sharing before. That's what I love about it, is like they've changed the idea. Like TikTok has really changed it. Like before, people used to think, great, I need the best camera, lighting. So they never really like shot things, because they were like, they felt like they needed all this production. And now it's like, oh, I can just like talk about this little kitten with my phone and shoot it in the moment and post it, and people love it. So that's what I love. It's like, now it's finally like, we're finally at the authentic level where we get to see real, like this is real life, like real emotions in the moment, real. It just, that's what I think other apps have failed to do, was be real.
And like you mentioned earlier, the family thing. I love that right now in America and all over the world, families are getting together and they're doing dances. They're on vacation. They're setting up. They're doing TikToks. What other app are people? They might pose for an Instagram photo, which is nice. I would do that on. But like if you go out and, you know, like if you went on a beach right now, you would see people. They'd be like, oh, they're doing a TikTok.
Oh yeah, exactly.
They're TikToking over there, you know, like, so I like that families are doing, and you know, there's a whole accounts that are the whole you know, like Sean and Mimi that do the cooking, and the McFarlanes, and like their whole family, that's their channel. That is what they're doing. It's awesome.
Exactly. And this generation is so like open, like they're actually encouraging, like Jades fans are like, when is your like mom going to get back in the video? When's your stepdad? Like back in the day.
She's a damn good, excuse my language, she's a damn good dancer too.
She is. She is. She taught Jade. So but it's like back in like my days, like if my mom was like, I don't know, hanging out or doing something, my friends would be like, what the heck? Like, this is crazy. And now it's like encouraging, like even like Addison Rae, you know, like second largest TikToker in the world. her mom and her just started a podcast together, and
Yep.
it's like, it's really accepting and people loving that, and they love to see families like, and I've talked to a lot of Jade's friends who say, I wish my family were involved in my TikTok. And so they love hanging out with us because we're like, we understand it and we get it, and they like, it connects on their level. And I think sometimes we forget that as we get older. Like, our kids are different, they think differently, and we talk to them like on our mindset, and so like sometimes there's a lot of clash because we don't relate. But if you just drop down to their level sometimes and actually have a conversation with something they enjoy, they open up so much more. Like, so
that's the point.
Exactly. So I love that TikTok has helped me have built stronger relationships with my kids. So,
yeah. And even my son and daughter, as we were talking, I can see my son sent me a video. Or my daughter will tag me.
Yeah, exactly.
So like they find things that they think that I would like, or that they think are funny, and then when I go upstairs, because I've banished him from the basement, but when I go up and I'll be like, hey Cameron, I saw that, thank you for sending that to me, because he thought that I would like it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But yeah, exactly your point.
100%. And are your kids like super, like they love it that you're so successful on it?
At first they didn't.
Really?
At first, about a year ago, I did a video that I thought was hilarious, because I think I'm funny, but there was a little bit of that element in the beginning. Mom, you're doing something different than the other moms are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly I wouldn't want to embarrass them, but I also had to follow my gut and follow Gary Vee's advice.
Yeah.
I did a video last year that was with my viral couch. I don't know if you saw my couch.
Yep,
that got
I did.
Like 1 million views, blah, blah, blah.
I saw that video.
Which I need to get with somebody from TikTok, because that song that I used is now available. So I need to have it reinstated.
Oh, yeah. I agree, because I saw that video. I saw that video.
Okay, so the song I used was I'm Coming Out by Diana Ross, which is now available. So I need to get with somebody if they could reinstate it, because I think that would really help me out. But anyway, it was that couch. I wasn't quite done with it, but because I had posted a teaser of me picking it up off the side of the road, everyone was like, well, when is it done? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I better really, that like lit the fire underneath me to get it done. So I did like before the viral video, I did like an in-between video showing the scene from Titanic where Leonardo is sketching Kate.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Paint me like a French girl.
So I did a video where I took Leo, and then it made it look like he was drawing me on the couch. And of course I didn't show anything.
Yeah, exactly. Just being funny. Yep.
I had on a tube top, and even though even it was my skin, I used a filter where it looked like I was drawing, because I was like, I don't even want to show my skin. But I thought it was hilarious.
Yep.
My daughter was really, to my surprise, she was really embarrassed by that.
Really?
And because she goes, Mom, you're insinuating that you're naked. And I'm like, yeah, but everybody knows I'm not.
Yeah.
But she was so embarrassed. And I was like, I really felt bad. But then the next day I posted my couch, which went viral overnight. And suddenly she was my biggest fan. I'm going about my day and she's texting me, Mom, it's at 1 million views. Mom, it's 2 million. And I had to remind her, remember yesterday, you were like so embarrassed of me, and how dare I? Yeah. And now you're my biggest fan. So now they're okay with it. Yeah. Now my son goes to school and tells people, my mom's Miss DeWalt, and she has all, and their friends follow me. So it's okay now.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that happens in anything though. Like, just need for everyone to kind of get on an understanding, and then they see, okay, like you meant it very harmlessly. But I can imagine, like, I think Jade back in the day when Emily would get in some of her videos, sometimes I think she was like, and then finally when people were like accepting and think, oh wow, this is actually cool, then people are, and now I think it's more like there's so much more education with families getting on that. I think it's more, a lot more people are comfortable and awesome with it. So.
Right. And anytime you do anything different, people are always going to say something initially. Mm-hmm. So I think that's just a good lesson in life. Whenever you do anything different, there's always going to be like a little bit, but that means you should keep going. Do what you want to do.
Exactly.
And they'll end up coming on. They'll be like, hey, you know what? We remember her. Yeah, we all
Exactly.
fans.
Exactly. 100%. Awesome. So what's some final like tip or advice that you could give to, well, especially professional people looking and like to give them maybe to look into TikTok or?
That you should definitely be on there, that you should consume content before you put anything out. You might want to work with an influencer. Like I said, there are actually a couple companies because my friend that owns Link Packaging has referred me then. But you should definitely not make it too commercial, too salesy.
Yep.
That you should just show your product in a fun and different way, but that you definitely should be on there. Don't think in the old ages where, you know, that you definitely need to embrace it. It's here to stay. The organic reach is crazy. It's the opportunity to get your product in front of a huge amount of people for what? For free, basically.
Yeah,
I mean, unless you pay your influencer a little bit. I mean, it's just a really great way to get organic reach.
100%. I agree. That's great.
Yeah.
Those are fantastic tips. And I love that. Like, it's so true. It literally, the platform is free. And yes, sometimes you can pay for advertising and stuff, but on Facebook you have to, because there's no organic reach. You have to pay. On here you can take some of that content and make it fun and not even pay influencers, and your content could go well, and it didn't even cost you anything. So
right.
Why not?
And look at the professionals that are on there. Look, there's the dentist, who's the orthodontist. There are lawyers on there. There are there are doctors on there. There are all kind of professional people being themselves and showing their occupations in a fun and creative and different way. And they're doing very well.
Exactly.
Some people have had to open other practices. Some people are getting deals, sponsorships. I mean, like, the sky is the limit. So don't limit yourself.
Exactly. 100%. So
yeah.
I really, really appreciate your time. And I love like just digging into all sorts of stuff on this conversation. We talked about a lot of really cool things, and I hope that, you know, this podcast or people who are watching or listening get some sort of inspiration here and hopefully learn something. Yeah. And I'm rooting for you. I'm going to take a clip of this that we talked about when you were talking about D.I.Y, and I'm going to email it to them as well.
Thank you.
Because they need to see it.
I would love to be sponsored. I would love to show products. There are things, and I know they're very focused on, obviously I love the trades, but there are women homeowners is who I'm more concerned. The homeowners, the women in trades, I think, are 2% right now, which I think over time that will grow.
Yep.
There are women that want to buy chainsaws, weed whackers.
Yes.
My tire pressure went low yesterday. It was as I was driving in the rain. Tire inflators, I should have one in my car. Give me one to put in my car, and I will show women, because as a safety thing, like, we should all have that.
100%.
So I would love to be sponsored, and I also want to be verified on TikTok. So if you could help me with that too.
Okay.
I would love that.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being on the show. Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me. It was great to talk to you.